Woman, hey, you know what? Hey,
but that black woman is God, and no God,
how do you figure?
No culture, no community is about to accept that God would have been all right with a woman being raped.
No, you figure
because that's your mind. That's your mind.
That's my mind.
That was my mind. That's
my father.
That's
my being a husband.
I thought the same thing.
That's my being a man.
I thought the same thing.
A man, a husband, and a father wouldn't condone no doctrine that say at 12 years old or any age that it's permissible for someone to be raped.
All right, you just heard that. You just heard that, right? Check this out. This is irony. Call on y'all by Shabbat Shai Shalom to the hopeful elect. Look at this.
Yeah.
Let's see if they play
this. See the title. Hip hop community.
Nah, he ain't even playing it. Hold on. Let me get it. GMS declaring. Boom. We gonna get this. Yeah, we gonna get it. We gonna get it out.
Paid upfront within 24 hours, mailed to the to the victim, and additional restitution to be paid out.
Hold on. Yeah, look. This is the sentence for Brother Polight.
15 years state prison.
And I left a comment on Apostle Tahar's channel. Psalm 92:11. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies, and mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. So this is the judgment of Brother Polight, who you heard his hypocrite ass saying what he was saying.
Count 4, lewd and lascivious exhibition on a child under 16 years, defendant over 18, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison.
Hold on, let's get the whole thing.
14438 with the following charges: lewd and lascivious molestation on a child, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. Count 2 was lewd and lascivious molestation on a child, 12 to 16 years, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years.
This is right after Polight pleading guilty.
Lewd and lascivious conduct on a child under 16.
So he just said that no society, no doctrine would ever condone anybody raping a child. He said 12 years old or any age. But he's over here getting sentenced for doing that. Slovakia. And that was back in 2016. I was like my first year into the correct doctrine. So, I remember that. And I was catching hell, for following GMS at that time. Because everybody was talking shit to me about the situation. But look because of his accusations, Polight's false accusations, because we don't do things like this, but he does. Look.
By a defendant 18 or over, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. Count 4, lewd and lascivious exhibition on a child under 16 years, defendant over 18, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years state prison. And contributing to the dependency of a child, a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail. And then count 6 is interference with custody, a third-degree felony, punishable by up to 5 years state prison. The state has now filed an amended information today, charging you with the following: aggravated child abuse, great bodily harm, a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years state prison. Count 2 is aggravated child abuse, great bodily harm, a first-degree felony, punishable by up to 30 years state prison. And contributing to the dependency of a child, a first-degree misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail. It is my understanding that you wish to plead guilty to this new information. You would be adjudicated guilty, and your sentence has been memorialized in a 4-page plea agreement. Did you have the opportunity to go over this plea agreement with your lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. I do need the defendant to initial each page because there are not initials on these pages.
Okay.
Let me know when it's done.
Going down for that. So he's initialing to it. He's admitting it in open court, that he's accepting these charges, and it was funny because, like I said, in the scripture, Psalm 92:11, and I'm going to just read off the comment board, but one more time, it says, "Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies, and mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me." Proverbs 19:9, it says, "A false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall perish." Right? So if you lying on us, you're going to catch that. You're going to catch this judgment. All right? Deuteronomy 19:16, "If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord Yahweh, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be a false witness, and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you, and those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you." Right? Yeah, it's just supposed to be a judgment back on you. Galatians 6:7. "Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap." Okay? We just want to get scriptures, man. Hebrews 10:31. "It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power." All right. Another guy, Job 4:8, says, "Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same." Apostle Kubar. Yeah, he is the most hated black man in America. He's black, he's wicked. He's evil. Black means wicked. All right, because nobody's really black besides this guy is spiritually black. This is Proverbs 26:27. "Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him." Yeah, so if you're trying to do something to somebody, it's gonna be a wrap if they didn't do nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've had women try to come at me and try to lie to police and shit, saying things to me or whatever, who I was in a relationship with. They found out that they were lying, and they even lied about that's not their phone number and whatever the case is, man. And the person even said, "That is your phone number. That's you right there." And she's like, "Nah, that wasn't me." It's just lying, So ultimately that's going to happen back to them. It has to, because the Lord is just and the Lord is not a liar. So it is what it is. Ecclesiasticus 1:29, "Be not an hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest." All right, so that's the end of that, man. Polight, you just caught the judgment, and the Lord is going to destroy you, and call all y'all Bashem Yahushai. Let's see what we got.
On your record. Do you also understand, sir, that by entering into this plea that it may subject you to involuntary civil commitment proceedings set forth in Florida statutes 394.910 through 394.931? Do you understand everything that I've said thus far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to also advise you, sir, that you are going to be sentenced to 7 years in state prison, to be followed by 10 years of reporting probation. In addition to any of these...
Oh, by the way, they're going to lock him up today.
The probation, you will also participate in and successfully complete a mentally disordered sex offender treatment program, that you are also not eligible... Okay, you may, according to the state, you may be eligible for early termination if all of the conditions of your probation have been completed, that you have had no violations of your probation, and that you have not been arrested for any other criminal offense. Is that correct, State?
And to clarify, the terms stated in 5 is there is no prohibition on early termination. However, there is a requirement that any modification to this agreement be agreed by the state and the court.
Okay. All right, sir. Now, with respect to this plea agreement, I have on each page next to defendant's initials MN. Did you in fact affix those initials to each page?
I did.
And have you reviewed each and every component of this plea agreement going through page 1 and through page 4?
I have.
Now it says on page 4, having read the above mentioned terms of this plea agreement and having been advised by my counsel, David Terrace, I, Michael Note, freely and voluntarily enter into this plea agreement and agree to abide by all terms and conditions of this plea agreement, and agree that failure to comply with any terms or conditions within this agreement constitutes a violation of probation and subjects me to be sentenced to the statutory maximum penalties provided by law for the crimes for which I am now pleading guilty. And then it has a signature over the name Michael Noah. Is that in fact your signature, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I am now going to place my signature on this plea agreement, in that I am now going to be ratifying this plea agreement as negotiated between the state of Florida and your attorney. Has anybody, including your lawyer, told you anything differently than what I've just told you?
No.
Are you under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medication affecting your ability to understand me?
No.
Is anybody forcing, threatening, or coercing you to enter into this plea?
No.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, the entry of this plea will have negative immigration consequences, including deportation and removal?
Understand.
You had the right, sir, to have gone to a jury trial where your lawyer had the ability to compel the attendance of witnesses on your behalf, the ability to confront and cross-examine the witnesses and evidence against you. You had the right to testify just like any other witness, or remain silent, and your silence could not have been used against you if you went to a jury trial. You also had the right to appeal any mistakes that I would have made during the course of the trial, and the right to hold the state of Florida to the burden of proving these charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand, sir, that by entering into this plea, that you are giving up all of these rights and we will not have a jury trial?
I do.
Have you discussed this plea with your lawyer?
Yes.
Has he answered all of your questions?
Absolutely.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's services and advice?
Absolutely.
Did the state provide all the discovery in your possession to the defense?
Yes.
Did the defense review all of the discovery in your possession with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do both sides know of any physical evidence containing DNA that would exonerate the defendant?
No.
There you go.
And do both sides stipulate to a factual basis for this plea?
Yes.
And the court has reviewed the arrest affidavit, makes the finding that there is a factual basis for the plea. Mr. No, are there any witnesses or is there any evidence that you wanted your lawyer to investigate or me to receive before entering into this plea?
No.
All right. The court finds that the defendant understands the nature of the charges against him and the consequences of this plea, that he has been represented by competent and effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant is knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Counsel, do you waive PSI?
Yes, Your Honor. Waive PSI.
All right. Now, Mr. Noah, you do understand, as I mentioned to you before, that the state, as they had articulated earlier, you may be eligible for early termination as long as certain conditions are met. That means no violations. You've done everything that you were supposed to do. You've not been arrested for any criminal offense, and the state is in agreement with it as well as the court's ratification. On the other hand, sir, if you violate any terms and conditions of this probation, and that includes getting arrested for any other criminal offense, that you could be subject to the maximum period of time in prison, which by my calculations is 61 years state prison. You do understand that?
Yeah.
And knowing all of this, do you still wish to enter into this plea?
Yes.
All right. The court finds the defendant, as I mentioned before, understands the nature of the charges against him and the consequences of this plea, that he has been represented by competent and effective assistance of counsel with whom he says he is satisfied. I find the defendant has knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived his rights. All statutory fines, court costs, and surcharges will be assessed. Is there anything further as it relates to Mr. No? I do have on the Zoom that the victim's mother wanted to address the court.
Correct, and Your Honor, nothing more from the state except to let Your Honor know if you can unmute the victim's mother, and she will be listed as victim Nowak in the Zoom, and she is requesting, pursuant to Marcy's law, that her identity remain anonymous. So for that reason, she will not be stating her name, but she will be making a statement.
The victim's mother's going to make a statement. She's going to curse.
Where would it?
Polight
You
out.
say victim, and then in parentheses Nowak. No, sorry.
Oh, she's going to tear into his ass.
You
That's
see
what you get when you fuck with
victim
the
Nowak?
prophets, yo.
Okay, yes, 1 second. All right, you may unmute, ma'am.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. All right, so what I'd like you to do is, well, you don't want to give your name, so at this
They're
point,
going to
just
kill
go
him
ahead
in
and
prison.
you can
Once
give us
Big
a-
Rex gets him,
an
they're going to
impact
tear, they're going to
statement. Yes,
bend
ma'am.
him up.
Thank you. Michael Nowak. This is the first time I have spoken publicly about what you've done to my daughter and I. I have gracefully remained silent the last 2.5 years. 2.5 years of pain, shock, disbelief, PTSD, constant nightmares, and daily triggers, trying to help my daughter heal when I'm not even healed myself. What you have done to my daughter, myself, and my entire family is inexcusable. You hurt us all. You made me believe that you were such a great man and you could do no wrong. You made me fully trust you, and for that my daughter trusted you too. But the truth is, you're a monster. A demon.
A monster and a demon.
The very first time that I allowed you to be alone with my daughter, the very first time, and you couldn't even help yourself. You told me you was gonna be right back. You were going downstairs. You were gonna grab food and take vacation pictures. You told me that you wanted to have a one-on-one talk with her about loving and respecting me as a great mother that I was and am. And I actually believed you.
Bing,
I believed that you were going to bring her right back.
bing.
I thought you were gonna have this trusting conversation with her that you promised me. Her and I both trusted you. For a grown man to violate a child who trusted him, you should be ashamed of yourself. You plotted on me and my little girl. The entire time you knew what you planned to do. Isolate, intoxicate, then violate my baby. Shame on you. I trusted you to bring her right back. You were supposed to bring her back the same way that you took her. Instead, you drugged her and took advantage of her, and you sexually abused her. You forced alcohol down her throat. You then forced her to see things that no child should ever have to see. You forced her to feel things that no child should have to feel. You forced her to accept violence that no child should ever have to endure. You forced drugs in her that no human should ever even ingest. She's my child. My baby. How could you? How could you? You could have killed her with all the drugs that were found in her system.
That would have really been fucked up. You done fucked up, man.
Huh?
You done. Big Rex is gonna grab you and he's gonna bend you up. You were the most hated black man in America.
You thought I was gonna be so blinded that I wouldn't notice when you returned her with bruises all over her body and her mouth busted, uncontrollably shaking. Absolutely not. And although you executed your plan and you got what you wanted those couple of hours, you actually failed. Because look where you're at right now. You have created a lifetime of trauma for my daughter and I. Before you, we never knew evil existed. You brought so much evil into our lives that early morning, and I'll never forget. I called you like 50 times and you wouldn't answer me. And I called her too, but you took her phone. You drugged my baby, you gave her no way to seek help. You left me no way to contact her or even know where she was. I get physically sick now whenever I'm away from my daughter because of you. Something as simple as her going to school, I'm in panic mode. Because I'm scared when she comes back, she's gonna be hurt all over again. I constantly have flashbacks of that night. And what she lives with it's not okay. She feels uncomfortable around people and will live with this forever, and this is not fair to her.
This is a heinous crime.
She never deserved
This is a heinous crime.
Shame on you
committed
for
by
forcing
the
evil on our
so-called black
youth.
man. I'm not even gonna call him an Israelite. I don't even
And you
think
know,
he's
for
an
a
Israelite.
year, I questioned, how could you
So
even
you
do
get when
this
you
to
fuck
us?
with the prophets.
Her and I did nothing wrong to you. We trusted you. I moved across the country because I believed everything that you told me. But it was pure manipulation I see now. All you do is specialize in selling false dreams. How can you do this to an innocent child and mother who simply trusted you? We did nothing wrong.
Big Rex is
But
waiting
you know what?
for you.
I'm done breaking my head trying to question or figure out how you could do such a thing. It's so simple to me now. You're just a sick man. A man you can have a plethora of women, but you secretly prefer to have a child. And it's so clear now. I will never be able to fully trust another person due to the betrayal that you've shown me. And for that, I was not willing to trust 6 strangers and go to trial. Nor was I going to put my daughter through an additional trauma. This plea was in our best interest. You and I both know the evidence is extremely substantial. But even with that, I refuse to have my child be tormented when she's done nothing wrong. All she holds is the truth. And I will say this, although you were so worried about being labeled a sex offender, you did us a huge favor by admitting to guilt, period. So for that, I thank you. I truly thank you. Yes, mitigation took place and I allowed it as long as it meant you going to prison and you getting true help. Because true help means no more victims. The fact that you're only non-negotiable with
He's gonna get help, all right. Big Rex is gonna help
exactly
him.
the type of man that you are.
Big Rex is
You know
gonna help
what
him
you
go
did
in the
in that hotel
bathroom.
room.
Big Rex is
I know
gonna
what you did,
help him go to
and my
sleep.
daughter knows what you did.
He gonna wash
DNA
Big
doesn't
Rex's
lie.
drawers.
There's no reason why your DNA should have been found on my baby. And yes, I satisfied your bogus request to not be labeled a sex offender, but it doesn't take away from who you truly are. I wasn't going to waste any time going back and forth with you over a label. God will judge you for exactly the person he knows you to be, a sexual predator. So rest assured, jail time equals jail time. And I pray that during your 10 years of sex offender probation, you actually receive the treatment that you need, and it helps heal your sick mind and get the thoughts of being with children out of it. All you care about is your pretend image, but I know exactly who you are now. You want to be this public figure, but you want to do all your evil acts in secret. You're so self-centered. That's why the last time I saw you on February 27, 2021, you fought me. You tried to hold me hostage from taking my daughter to the hospital. I'll never forget that cowardly look in your eyes. I'll never forget it. You were so scared. You were so scared because you realized you messed with the wrong one. Your last words to me, you held me and said, please don't go. You're going to ruin my career.
You don't give a fuck about nobody. That's why you suck the blood to the
2023,
crips
my
on
last
us.
words to
So
you
fuck
are,
that nigga,
I
man.
hope the next 17 years of your life, you're reminded of the disgusting, terrifying, unforgivable act that you've done to my innocent daughter.
Big Rex is going to continue to remind
And
him.
although you've caused a tremendous amount of trauma for myself and my daughter, we will and will always be superior of you, because a successful, honest career is something that you can never, ever have. We will both continue to stand against violence. My daughter will continue to persevere and be bright and intelligent and courageous young woman that she is. So Michael Nowak, I hope you enjoy prison, and God bless you.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your courage for speaking. It is heartbreaking, and my heart goes out to you and your daughter. All right. The defendant will be remanded to the Department of Corrections.
Yes.
He's given credit for no.
Yes.
He's your daughter. All right. The defendant will be remanded to the Department of Corrections.
Yes.
He will be remanded to the Department of Corrections. Right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your courage for speaking. It is heartbreaking, and my heart goes out to you and your daughter. All right. The defendant will be remanded to the Department of Corrections.
Yes.
That means that nigga
He's
going
given
straight
credit
to
for
the pokey.
No.
He going straight to jail. Judgment. Judgment. This is what you get for fucking with the prophets.
Yes.
He's given your daughter.
God bless you. And that she is. So Michael Nowak, I hope you enjoy prison, and God bless you.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your courage for speaking. It is heartbreaking, and my heart goes out to you and your daughter. All right. The defendant will be remanded to the Department of Corrections.
Yes.
He's given credit for no.
He will be remanded to the Department of Corrections. That means he's going to jail right now. From court to jail. They're going to give him that suit. They're going to give him that jumpsuit. And everybody in that joint, they're going to know him. You want to go to a place where everybody knows your name, and they're also glad you came, especially Big Rex. The hell's going on? The hell's going on? Bear me for a minute. Anyway, it's buffering. Anyway, with that, I'm saying shalom. So he went to court. He pled. You know, he took the plea. Instead of facing 31 years, he's facing 7 years, hard time. anyway. Missile's gonna come anyway, you know? So he's done, but this, like I said before, this is what you get when you fuck with this. You should have thought about what you were doing when you came down to 34th Street back in October of 2013. And you put the video up on your debate with Captain Tazariak, and you put us up there showing us that we
can do CTS on this later,
easy.
yes. He's giving credit time, whatever he's gotten in.
Oh, he's here.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Back up.
All right. Barbara's Alvin, where is he? Alvin? Huh?
Okay.
Okay, let him know we're ready to go.
Let me get 5 minutes. Just about.
Big Rex is getting, he's ready to go too.
I will on the record 5 minutes.
Go. Anyway, that's it. Shalom.
All right, with that, I'm going to say all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem, Rakal Kadash for the judgment, man. For all who fear the Lord, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Shalom.